Hi guys, our lovely Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. I'm going to show you a little bit about how we made Stray. This is going to be an unscripted video. I'm just going to press record. I just did. I'm just going to show you how we made this video. I'm just going to go through After Effects and show you a little bit like how we set it up. It might be interesting. I don't know. If you haven't seen Stray yet, be sure to actually go and watch it on YouTube. The Stray Demake that we did. There's a link in the description, obviously, if you missed it. And I'm just going to show you how we actually set this up. So this is what I'm going to do right now. This was the video, obviously. I'm going to go to After Effects, and I'm going to go to my main scene. There we go. Where we actually got the whole scene going. So this is all After Effects and a sprite. Nelis has been doing most of the animations. We got some interns as well. Nelis is doing most of the animation on the characters, and I've been doing artwork, but also a lot of this compositing stuff. And I'm just going to go through it. And it's a little complex, but it looks a little complex, but it's not really. It's just something that, you know, you go through a project and you start building it. And so what I tried is I tried to really mimic those pixels. And it actually has like a little noise on it to make sure there's a lot of stuff happening. I can like turn on the battery light, for example, of the battery. There we go, and turn it off. It's a little slow because it's a pretty hefty project on it, like to run it. Like this part anyway, like the actual filter of it. And actually, this is actually what's happening, and it's being filtered over the actual Game Boy image, which is a really large Game Boy image, and it has like a little drop shadow and has like little crunchy edges. That's some noise. There's a little displacement in there going on, but in the end, it's all like really crisp pixels. And if I click on that again, you can see the whole video just plays out here. It's really fast because it's really only 160 by 144 pixels. So what happens here is we try to mimic the color palette, and we try to mimic the resolution, we try to mimic the limitations, and obviously we're taking some liberties, and obviously some things don't really work out perfectly, but you know, like they wouldn't be possible on a Game Boy. They would work a little different on a Game Boy, but it's as close as possible. But in the end, like this is just the footage that we made, and then we got all the scenes here. Let me just go to this scene right here with the sewers. Oh, autosave, it's not necessary, but there we go. Like I said, this is unscripted. And for example, you can see that we made a little fade here. You can see it right here. It's called dark fade in, fade out. And it's actually basically like a color swap, and it's happening every 10 pixels to make sure it's like choppy, nice and choppy, like how the Game Boy would do it. Obviously, the sprites only load in at the last second, but the background would fade in and out. So we try to mimic that feel of the Game Boy. Let me just play that out real quick. There we go. Fade in, fade out. See how that works? And you can see actually it swaps one color palette to another, to another, to another. And when that happens, that's actually mimicking the Game Boy graphics, the Game Boy sprites, where you're just like swapping, where you could just swap in the colors. Again, there's like different shades of black. Like how much would that pixel light up? I know a lot of people think it's actually green, and this is what we tried here, but actually it's just a pixel that turns on or off. You can see that on the actual Game Boy. And let me just get one image here, right here. There we go. You can see that the pixels that are completely off. Let me just get a better screen somewhere around. There we go. This is a good frame. So this uses the lightest color, and you can actually see the grid here, which is the darkest color, then the second darkest color, then one of the lightest colors, and then when the color is like the lightest, it's actually completely see-through. You don't see the grid anymore because that's actually the color of the Game Boy. So the pixels would actually be black, not green, but because of the green background, they would like seem like they're different shades of green. That's not true. The Game Boy Pocket was actually black and white. You can see it there. So that's the thing. Like if I go to the whole content, you can actually see that we made one big level. Just try to figure it out. There we go. And then just go through it, and you see the cat going from left to right. There we go. And it's actually all using GIFs. So let me zoom in on this timeline. It's all using .gifs, which well, I'll show you in a bit. So you can see that this is the running animation. This is the walk to run animation, because there's a transition, just like how Prince of Persia had that. We try to mimic that game's feel when it comes to animation. So you can actually see animations flow over each other. See that right there? So it walks and then it starts running. So there's transition animations everywhere, and that was really rare on the Game Boy, but some games had it, like I said, like Prince of Persia. I know that's a DOS game, but there's actually a port on Game Boy. Same for the audio. We actually tried to mimic the silence of like Prince of Persia, and there's Ape's Odyssey on the Game Boy. It's called Odd World Adventures, and that has like only like a few notes of music, so we tried to mimic that as well. We did a lot of research to find the right feel for this, and I tried to we tried to mimic like player input. There we go, and whoops, it jumps over. And you can see it actually go from run to jump, etc., etc. So there we go, and eventually, and it's just a GIF. It's just like, there we go. So there we go, and there's like strings of light and things animating, and the little camera right there that actually looks at it. It glitches out a little bit here, but that's fine because that happened off camera. No pun intended. So let me show you right here. You can see the cat. This is A-Sprite right there. And we make all the pixel animations in A-Sprite, which is obviously more logical than doing it in Photoshop or even like Animate. I mean, even though it has animation in the game, in the name, it's all vector obviously, and this is a lot easier to do it like this because it's really sharp and crisp. So this is like how we do our how we did our jumps. All the jumps are actually always the same length. It's not like Mario jumping in the air and Mario landing or anything. Like, it's actually like sprites that go from one frame to the other, just like Prince of Persia, because that was rotoscoped. Look that up; it's really interesting. If you don't know, he rotoscoped his own brother on the playground with the jungle gym and stuff like that. And we didn't rotoscope a cat, but we tried to make it look like it was rotoscoped. We actually did experiment with actually rotoscoping animations of videos of cats, but we felt like it felt more natural, more precise if we did it this way. But like I said, Nailus did this really well. All those animations are here, and they climb up. There we go. It looked really good. And climb down, and all jump the same amount of pixels, and that's because all the jumps that we created in the game are also the same amount of pixels, because everything like in Stray is also a little scripted. So you press A and you jump there, and it's not like you press A to jump. No, you press A to jump somewhere, because like there's a prompt to jump on it. So we tried to mimic that as well, so that is the same feel. It wasn't like a Mario platformer or something, you know. So there we go. So everything jumps the same length. That's why the barrels are the same length, etc., etc. And also the bins and all this stuff is it's all calculated basically. But it still looks like player input. So last, I want to show you. Yes, let's do the content on the escape. So obviously subscribe to 600 Bits, but if you're a Patreon, I think you're subscribed to 600 Bits. I hope so anyway. And here you have the scene with the Zergs, and then they start chasing him, and they're all obviously like little gifts of Zergs that move around. It's a little scripted, obviously. So for example, this chair, like falling over. I got something here. Let's go to the chair. So I did this in Photoshop. I made this turn in Photoshop, but actually I didn't have to do it, because like a lot of animations we do actually straight into After Effects. If it's not character animation, you can do it straight into After Effects. So if I got this interpolation, if I got the interpolation turned off, I can actually make it smooth, like actually make it crisp, unsmooth. And so basically I can move this around, and all the pixels, I'll zoom in a little bit, all the pixels will stay crispy right there. See that? So if I would have that turned on, like by default, it would just become blurry, because After Effects will say like, well, that's blurry, let's make it better, which will look good at 100%, but it will not look good for pixel art. So we actually abuse that system, so it becomes nice and crispy. That's not crispy, but this is. There we go. See, there we go. So I would actually make it go boop, 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 and I make it fall over. And obviously at exactly 90 degrees, that will still stay sharp. So yeah, that's mostly all I wanted to show. So there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's not really gameplay. We are looking into actually making things into games. Maybe not the Demakes. There's a tool called Game Boy Studio that we want to try out. Maybe we're gonna try to make something of Stray working in that, so you can actually play it on an actual Game Boy, even if it's just like fading graphics. I don't care. This is gonna be fun. I don't know yet. But and we can actually see how well we did, like how close are we to the actual look of the Game Boy. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you again for being a patron. I will make more videos like this. I know I've been talking for like 12 minutes right now, but I just wanted to show you a little bit behind the scenes. Maybe nobody cares, maybe you care, I don't know. And if you have any questions, please ask us on Discord or in the comments or something like that. I'd be happy to like talk you through it, because I love actually showing people this. So thank you so much. More videos will come like this, I think so. I'm gonna probably do one on Elden Ring or something, because that video did pretty well. A lot of fun. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.